Welcome to Generational Differences with Beckham and Brett.
So what else do you want to know? Let's see. What else about Mark Zuckerberg? What else do you have to say about it?
Zuckerberg? I mean, Zuckerberg is just like a Republic social media, a media controlling guy.
You think he's a Republican?
Yeah?
That's interesting.
Why?
Oh, well, because up until pretty much this election, maybe the first election with Trump, there was a little bit of switch where almost all tech companies and Bay Area companies sided with Democrats and Democrats.
Democrats.
But But now, yeah, after this last election, it's unclear where they stand on a lot of things. They seem to have folded.
Yeah.
You think he's a Republican, huh?
Yeah.
Is it because he's on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
And we are back again for episode 10. We're into the double digits now.
Just like my age.
Mm-hmm. Just like your age. 10th episode for 10-year-old. Okay. So today, the first thing you wanted to talk about was Meta.
Yep.
And so I guess to start off with, you can tell me everything you know about Meta and I'll try to fill in gaps.
Okay. So Meta is a platform on, I think, also your phone, but it's normally used with with Oculuses, right?
Yeah, so Meta and like the metaverse, I guess, includes Facebook, which is primarily what it is Facebook. But then it also has,
There's also Meta Horizons.
yeah, so then you've got um then you have the VR module, which is the Oculus, which is what we've got.
Yeah.
And so is that what you want to talk about first was the Oculus?
Yep. Well, basically Facebook and Oculus, but basically it's Facebook, but if you were talking to people in a chat room, that's what I've heard. So,
Hey.
and then you could bring up pictures with your finger also. That's what I've also heard, or something from the ads.
Yeah, so I think
And
that's the
showing them.
metaverse is what they're talking about. Yeah, and you can put the camera on. I haven't tried it with ours, but imagine you can go into rooms and chat and do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like say you want to share a video. Let's say it's Axolotl YouTube, the one that goes. You
I
can
have
just bring
no
it
idea
up.
what that
You
is.
can bring it up.
I'm not gonna bring it up right now, no. How does it go again? Is that like the Nyan cat? Okay, no. No, that's enough of that. So anyway, what do you know about Mark Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg is actually one of the most famous people on Meta, but Zucker himself kind of is directing Facebook.
He is.
So, and he also kind of is like Elon Musk, but he's a website that talks to people, Elon Musk, and not techie, and didn't buy his own website. He made it and made actually billions of dollars off of that.
Fun fact, he actually stole the idea for it.
From
From
what, Blue Sky?
No, for Facebook. So originally, like Daddy got on it was called the Facebook back then, and what it was a dating app, and you had to have, and the only way you could get onto it at first was if you had a college email. So they had just expanded it to Washington State University, and so Daddy got on it like 20 some years ago. But he stole that from the Winklevoss twins, which were some other guys I think that were in his frat at Harvard. Stole the idea from them. They did fine. They went on. I think they're heavily involved in crypto. They have their own crypto trading platform called Gemini now, and they were well to do.
Wait, Gemini? Isn't that like one of the AIs?
That's also a Gemini. Yes, and it's also one of the AI's names. But anyways, yeah, Mark Zuckerberg created that, and he's taking a lot of heat right now, um, because they were screening for a lot of hate and conspiracy theories up until Trump got into office. And then once Trump got into office, they kind of took um, all that off in the name of quote unquote free speech.
Yeah, and they're also voting a lot of AI pictures.
What are they doing?
Making a lot of AI pictures and making it look like it. Actually, right now I can go into Copilot and create a picture for Facebook to put on there.
Oh, are you talking about fake pictures or like
Yeah,
fake
fake
pictures
pictures
of
from
people?
AI.
Yeah. I
A
don't know
lot
if
of that.
they I don't know if they're notifying people if it's an AI generated um image. That's a good question. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so how do you feel about the Oculus? We've had one for a couple years now.
I think I like the Oculus when you're just playing games on it, not, going on to MetaQuest.
MetaQuest.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? MetaQuest?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. There's a funny TV show called Mythic Quest that makes fun of like a video game company. So I thought you I thought you messed it up and got it mixed up with Mythic Quest.
That would have been funny though.
So what else do you want to know? Let's see. What else about Mark Zuckerberg? What else do you have to say about it?
Um, Zuckerberg? I mean, Zuckerberg is just like a Republic social media, a media controlling guy.
You think he's a Republican?
Yeah?
That's interesting.
Why?
Oh, well, because up until pretty much this election, maybe the first election with Trump, there was a little bit of switch where almost all tech companies and Bay Area companies sided with Democrats and Democrats.
Democrats.
But but now, yeah, after this last election, it's unclear where they stand on a lot of things. They seem to have folded.
Yeah.
You think he's a Republican, huh?
Yeah.
Because he's on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Okay. What else do you know about Meta as the company?
Uh, I just think like Meta as a company is just Facebook.
It is. What do you know about Facebook? Because you haven't really gone on Facebook. Do kids on? A better question. This is actually a good question. Do kids in your
No, they
grade
go on YouTube.
they don't go on Facebook anymore?
You know where they go on?
Hmm.
TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Hmm. What's the most popular out of all of those?
Uh, well, TikTok, because technically that has no age restrictions on it, while YouTube actually has a law that if you're watching something that's supposed to be for adults, you actually you're actually breaking law. Like there'll be a thing saying this is for older. So if you go in and sign and say that you're, older than you are, you actually are breaking the law.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it tells you that.
Yeah.
So a lot of your friends are afraid to put in a wrong age in YouTube because it scares
Yeah.
them because they say they're breaking a law, but not on TikTok.
Yeah.
What do you know about TikTok?
I don't know.
Have you gone on TikTok very much?
No, I don't. I actually have never gone on TikTok myself before.
So your friends are going on TikTok a lot. Do they talk about like do most of them go on TikTok?
No.
No. Most of
Uh,
them go on YouTube.
yeah.
So if you had to rank the three, what would you say that they would be?
The third?
1 through 3, like what's the most popular to least popular?
YouTube Shorts, because the kids don't really need to do that. They can just not sign in at all and go onto the Shorts. So either way, they can still access stuff. But that's first place. Second place is TikTok. Third place is Instagram.
Okay. That's interesting. So, like, it's funny because, like, now Facebook's not even in the mix, which in
No,
like the last
Facebook's
10 years, like 5 years even, it's fallen out of favor. And now it's
yeah,
all. So, the interesting thing is, like, when daddy got into college, it was all the kids were using it, right? And it was only college kids and young kids. And now it's even daddy's age group doesn't really use it very much. We go on there for like our grandparents and our parents, but Nobody else really uses it. Um, what if you had to predict the future and say that like TikTok is the newest thing, and then it was Instagram, and then it was YouTube, right? Like the evolution of
Yeah.
like social media platforms. And then I guess before YouTube was Facebook. So what do you
Blue
think is going to be?
Sky.
Well, Blue Sky is like X or Twitter. So I don't think, but forward thinking, a
A
platform that
lot of
doesn't,
kids go onto X.
a lot of kids go on to X too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's easy reading. So like you guys have gotten shorter attention spans because of like if you think about it, YouTube, the reels are they can be an hour or 2 hours long. You can have full movies on there. And then you go to
Yeah.
Instagram. In Instagram, you can have some longer content on it too, but TikTok has, I think, a hard limit on how long they can have their stuff. And the same thing with Twitter, although they're allowing longer tweets now, but it used to be that you could only have 160 characters and that was it.
Really? Oh man, that's actually kind of cool.
So thinking about all of those things where media keeps getting shorter, but you're still trying to use it to connect with people, what would you think something that hasn't been created yet, like somebody from your generation, what do you think they would create?
I don't know actually.
You think it's going to be even shorter videos
I
with
think like they're gonna have the attention span of like maybe 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Because when I'm on YouTube Kids and there's a thing, I wish they had a skip button like YouTube because I want to do it so I just want to skip so bad, but I
The
can't.
ad? You mean the ad?
Yeah. Also, by the way, about that AI thing, I just made um an AI generated video.
Oh.
I mean, not video, picture.
Oh, while we were doing this? Yeah. Um, cool. We're supposed to be focusing on the podcast, not not not
I was
making
just gonna tell you, like, this is how fast you can create an AI
Alright.
video or
Yep.
short or image while doing a podcast. Imagine how fast it is when you're just not doing anything.
Faster than getting a pizza delivered. So,
Yeah,
but this is a good commentary, like, your generation expects to have things now and fast and quick,
quick,
right?
quick
So that's the thing, like, so you were able to generate a video in,
video,
2 minutes,
no video image.
and and you were saying you can't wait for ads, you were saying so you think that everything's getting
Stupid
shorter.
ads, may I add? Like they were like doing advertisements for hymns.
Mm.
Have you ever seen those?
Yes, I don't think that's, the right type of ad for you.
No, those are for men.
They
That's what
are.
I mean. I was like, this is a kid's.
Yeah, it is kinda weird. What so then I guess this is actually good. Do you think that VR is gonna be part of, like, the next social media platform?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So you think that it's gonna be something like an intersection between VR and TikTok?
Okay, let me just say this. Generation Omega, which I'm thinking is like Gen Beta after Gen Beta,
Yep.
is gonna just have VR.
Yeah.
Like, there's gonna be no cell phones, or there are gonna be cell phones, but they're just like basically like these these boxes that you just kind of use the same here, and they're pretty good too. Probably they're like probably computer pockets or something. Computer in your pocket.
So do you think that they're gonna even meet in real life? Like, do you think people will meet in real life that much?
Yeah, I mean they probably will.
What
Or
makes you think that?
well, because somebody's gonna have they want they're probably gonna meet each other like, hey, do you want to go over to my house and play Fortnite and crank 90s and get the #1 victory royale or whatever? They're still gonna see each other.
But why do they need to do that if they can both sit at their house and play together and just talk over.
See, because here's the thing. I like playing with my friend at school, and if I'm just sitting at a monitor talking with him all day, it makes me sad because I don't see his face and I want to see him and like talk to him and play with him in person. And I think that's gonna be of how it is. They're the part of their mind that says I want to see this person and talk to them in person is gonna trigger and be like, "Hey, why don't you come over to my house? We can like get pizza or like sleep over or something."
So you think the need for actual human interaction then is gonna be strong enough that people will still wanna go out and do things in person, and they're not just gonna wanna sit on their VR modules and, like
Yeah.
well, that's promising. A lot of technology futurists right now are kinda like think we're in, like, a doomsday spiral where people aren't gonna and daddy's seeing it a lot, like, out in the dating scene too. It's getting,
You're
you
having
know
to go on the honeybee.
honeybees. I have to go on the honeybees and find that. Well, it's true. The remote work has made it difficult to meet people like in your circle. So yeah, you mean and by honeybee you mean Bumble. Yeah. So I go out on Bumble dates. But even on the Bumble dates sometimes you kind of find Daddy has found that there are for every person I start talking to, I maybe for probably every 5 to 6, maybe 7 women that I start talking to, I go out on 1 date for all those. So it is very difficult to transition that into an in real life meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even in the last couple of years, I've noticed each year it seems that people are getting a little bit more distance or even sometimes socially awkward like when we first talk like I run into people who to women who have a hard time talking or initiating conversation and so then I feel
Yeah.
like I'm trying to carry the conversation, which is interesting.
Okay, so apart from this thing when you said like not talking,
Hmm.
something went in my mind of where it was a test of like with like two groups of children and one was like said that you're stuttering and you're stuttering. So they like thought, "Oh, if I'm stuttering, I don't want to talk because that might be embarrassing to me or something and they might shame me." So they didn't talk while the other group they just had normal conversations. And so for years on, they just kind of like went on with their lives, right?
Yeah.
But that impacted them so much that they had like these fears and phobias of talking because then they would have thought, "Oh, we're gonna be called that we're stuttering or something, and they're gonna have a fear that like they're gonna mess up somehow."
So you think that people do you think that people are getting social anxiety then from like a traumatic event that they had in their past?
Or that like they just don't know how to talk in person, or they have to chat.
You think do
They
you
have
think
to like
maybe so you're saying maybe that the people that had a traumatic event and they're not focused or they're not forced to talk in person anymore, that they have a harder time now
yeah.
because that traumatic event
And they
like
could never cope with it or learn from it.
because in the good old days you couldn't just chat online, you actually had to
Like, go in person and be like,
and make eye
"Hey."
contact.
Yeah.
Yes. Um yeah, that could be like the fact that people can chat and they're more comfortable in chatting because they don't like the sound of their own voice or they had something traumatic in the past. That is a good point. But you think that most kids are going to want to um they're going to want to meet in real life.
Most kids after a certain amount of time, like, they'll meet with somebody at school and then, they'll either play with each other first at recess and then after in games, or they talk at recess, but they don't really say much to each other. And then after that, they play with them on, like, online. And after that, it just keeps going on and on and on, and they're like, "How about we talk in real life?" And the other person's like, "You know, that might be a good idea. We haven't really actually had a conversation in real life. Let's have one."
So you're saying that they get to know each other online and
And they get to,
then
like, really just go on
oh,
and
and people are more comfortable talking like this over voice chat.
yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's actually an interesting point. So, like at school, when they first meet each other, they don't really know each other, but then they're like, "Let's play games together and see if we will have
And then
fun."
they kinda grow off of the voice chat, and
Mm,
then they're
that's
like
interesting. And so then it makes it easier for them to talk at school.
or it actually makes it harder because voice chat either might save us or destroy us.
But you were just saying, are you playing the devil's advocate right now? Because you were just saying now people that didn't talk before at school, they go and they exchange gamer handles, they play together, and then at school they start talking more because it's easier.
Yeah, or they just don't talk at all and they only talk on games and they're like and they always schedule not at school,
Mhm.
but on like, on the actual computer and they just talk and they don't see each other. And then talk in real life finally
So which do you
because they
feel
meet each other in the school playground or yard and they're like, "Hey, haven't seen you in a while." And I mean, we have, but like we've been talking. Um,
so which do you feel is more common? Do you feel people begin to talk more after they start playing games together
talk
or
more after they start playing games
okay.
because I met my friend back in 1st grade. And over in 4th grade, we kinda had a good relationship, we liked each other pretty good,
Yeah.
but I feel like gaming, we're always excited to play. We're always, like, hyped for Friday and something, and if one of us, like, can't play, we get super sad.
And are there other kids at school that all play games together?
No. I mean, yeah, if they're probably at each other's houses, but no.
Hmm,
No,
I
not
see.
really.
Interesting. That's interesting. So we got a little off topic, but that's good. It's been actually a really good conversation. So you think that people will continue to meet up in person
If
um,
if they have voice chat, if
if
they
they have voice
continue
chat?
talking with each other, and if
Hmm.
they continue playing with each other, yeah. If they become really good friends, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. So because another critique is that people don't like your generation doesn't talk on the phone anymore. But to your point, like if you're playing games or you're doing something online with somebody, you guys don't technically need phones because you're streaming together and you're kind of just, chatting as you're doing that.
Exactly.
Interesting. And so, yeah, there's no need for you guys to have like you can like rather than calling somebody up and asking them a question, you just use that to text. But then when you need like if you're gaming or you're doing working on a project or something like that online, then it makes more sense to have a voice channel. Eh,
Yeah.
very interesting. Yeah, because daddy's generation, like daddy's kind of the hybrid generation. So when I was in high school, most people didn't have cell phones yet. And so we had to call
No.
each other's house or just make plans while we were at school.
Like
And then,
my friend and I now.
yeah. And then we all got cell phones and then it was like we would call each other all the time. And then but texting, it was T9 texting, so you had to use like the 10-digit keypad to do that. It was
Mm-hmm.
kind of odd.
10 digit?
Yeah. 'Cause 0.
Oh.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, yeah, and, so anyway, and then it kinda morphed into texting, and then we got more comfortable with texting, and now, you know, most people do that. Although I have dated a few women that prefer phone calls over.
That's normal.
And I also have certain friends that when we catch up, it's not via text, they want a phone call. So, I think with my age group, it's 50-50. But with your age group, it's interesting. You guys have completely diverged where you'll probably use your phone to text primarily, and then if you're doing something online together, whether that's, which might be
Playing Pal
interesting.
World.
Huh?
Playing Pal World or like Lethal Company.
Wait, for you, it's games, but I'm wondering if there's other platforms where, like, you watch movies together, or you do something like that, and then you just kinda chat that way too.
I mean, not really. If we wanna see each other, we're gonna go to each other's
Yeah,
house
you'll
to
just hang
watch the
out and do
movie.
that.
If we
makes
want to
sense.
watch a movie marathon, we go to one of our houses, one
This
of
is
each
true.
other's houses.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a good session. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back for the second half.
Which we're gonna reveal next time.
And we're back for the second half of episode 10, where Beckham, you wanted to talk a little bit about the cartoon that you've been like geeking out on for a couple weeks now, which is
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls, which was like what, 2 episodes, like almost 10 years ago now or something like that?
2 episodes, you mean seasons?
2 seasons, my bad.
And it's not really that like it stopped. It stopped because they've been actually like making a bunch of books lately. And like they've produced Journal 3, this new book called The Book of Bill, which is basically if the antagonist which basically the antagonist after it died made a book in some therapy dimension, and he sent it down to the dimension of Gravity Falls, where the show takes place. But Sam Ford, the protagonist or one of them, put it down into the bottomless pit, which sent it to our world, which Alex Hirsch, the creator of the series, found it in the middle of the woods while he was walking, grabbed it, and then he got possessed by Bill Cipher.
Sounds like it's a pull from Mormonism.
What's Mormonism?
The Latter-day Saints. Like Mormons, they live in Utah. They believe that there was another prophet named Joseph Smith that came after Jesus, and he found golden tablets while he was wandering out in the woods in Missouri. Anyways, go on.
So after that, basically, we discussed now the books. Now let's discuss about the show. The show, Gravity Falls, started off when two parents were decided that Dipper and Mabel, the two main protagonists, thought that they should get some fresh air. So they sent them to where their great uncle Stanford lives in Gravity Falls. And basically that entire show and so basically the first episode the first season was just them. They were just going around and solving mysteries and spanking monsters really hard.
Spanking
They
monsters? What do you mean spanking monsters?
like they had paranormal events happening in Gravity Falls. So whenever they
So they
so
go out and spank
sometimes
them? Do they have like
they
special
basically
paddles
just
that they
beat
went
the
after?
crap out of them or try and find a solution to get them away. Like there was the first episode or the pilot episode of where literally there was a zombie that Mabel was dating and it turned out to be gnomes.
Mm.
And they had to blower the gnomes. They had to do a reverse so the leaf blower would suck in and then pull it all the way to blow, so they'd shoot one of the gnomes at the giant gnome golem that the gnomes combined to make, and they all went away and
So
then
were they
started
like
hitting them
dressed
with
up as a real
shovels.
human, like in a trench coat or something like that?
Yeah, they were in a robe and they used not real hands. And and there was one on the top that was used as a face, and then even the feet were gnomes, but two gnomes were sitting in one boot. So the entire one was that Dipper, the actual main character, was like, it's a zombie because he found a book called Journal 3 in the woods, and like he was looking it up and he thought the undead because he found it in the book, because it's actually in the book that Alex Hirsch published after the show was created.
I
So
see.
after that, there actually was after that Dipple and Dipple Dipper and Mabel incident. He started writing in the book because he saw that there was an author, right? And he stopped, putting stuff in the books, like information about the monsters. There's things of cursed doors in that book, floating eyeballs, big bats, grunkle muffins. I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back on that name later or
Uncle
not.
muffins,
Gr- like something weird.
like grumpy muffins, to make you grumpy if
I
you eat
don't
them.
know, but after that entire thing, the first season was just a haze. The main antagonist showed up in like one episode, I'd say, when this guy named Gideon was trying to get the right to the mystery shock, which was basically Stanford's tourist trap
Hmm.
that
Interesting.
Dipper and Mabel were living in. So
So go ahead.
so Gideon called a literal triangular demon to enter Stanford's mind to get of where it was. But he was actually trying to get a host to build a portal so he could go through and totally ruin the world and split the world in part. And yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And the great uncle Stanford, whilst he was confronted with a solid amount of things, seeing that there should be that
Did you
there
just say
should be,
whilst?
huh?
Did you just say whilst?
Yeah.
You're talking in Old English now? Whilst.
While seeing enough information
Okay.
to to be like,
Continue.
yeah, there are monsters, and there are like weird gobbledygooks in the wild. Why did I say gobbledygooks?
I'm still trying to figure out why you said whilst. Like, who uses that word?
Me.
Apparently.
Either way, the entire one, and then I think by at after that, basically all these other episodes were just like a stream of stuff that didn't really matter. Well, except, seeing the time baby have a really big role. But other than that, not really much until Great Uncle Stan was like, I know that there are monsters. I just wanted to protect you, but I didn't do a very good job.
So do you think they're going to revive the series?
Yes.
You think so?
Oh, they've released a book. They've released a website that's called thisisnotawebsite.com. And then you actually put in .com. So,
Hmm. And the same people, I think,
and you put
create
in codes.
Rick and Morty, right?
Yeah. Funny enough, the actor for Mabel, like the voice actor for Mabel, is the
Yes.
same person as the girl from Bob's Burgers. It was the
Oh.
same voice actor.
I wonder if it's the same animator that does Bob's Burgers too.
No.
Oh, probably not. Just another voice actor. Yeah, I know the voice acting industry. I think it's pretty limited.
Either way, after that, Stanford was working on this giant portal to get his brother to get his long lost brother back from like some weird realm called the Nightmare Realm, to get him back and to help him.
So, how did the series end? Because it was only 2 seasons. What was like the last? Was there a series finale, or was it like a cliffhanger?
I'll get to that
Okay.
later.
Well, why don't we start to look at that?
There's a big role though with the Stanford coming back.
Mm.
He has a really big role too. Um, Either way, after that, Stanford was like, "Hey, bro, I got your back," and it's like, and he was like, "Stanley," because that's his real name. bring me back. The demon could come through the portal. And he's like, but I was trying to help you. Well, shut it down. So they had to like shut it down and stuff. And after that, Stanford was in the dimension because the real guy who was the Shack was actually named Stan Lee. Stanford was the guy who made the books.
Hmm. I see. So anyways, what the finale was what? So that was the
The
finale?
finale was after that monster that Gideon used, he came back through a rift that he made a deal with like this guy, and he give after that he kind of went in through through the rift to get into the dimension and started something called Weird Mageddon. The monster that Gideon used was named Bill, and he's a triangular 2D monster. So, yeah, he kinda has that going for him. After that, he kinda made a base of operations a a what do they call it? A throne of people that they turned to stone.
Hmm.
A giant throne for him to sit on.
So it didn't really end. Is that what you're saying? Like
But
there could have been more?
after that, all everybody came, including Stanford and Stan Lee and everybody who was trying to revolt from Weird Mageddon, kind of came and was like, "We're gonna destroy you, Bill." And so they tried to do something called the Zodiac, which was something that was supposed to get Bill away. It didn't work. Spoiler. So then, um, so then Bill had went into Stan Lee's mind, and Stan Ford erased his mind, which killed Bill because he was in Stan Lee's mind. But before that, he spoke in gibberish, which actually he was calling on a god
So
to
you
help
should
him.
probably say spoiler alert for all this, right? Like,
Yeah,
should we have put a spoiler alert?
we
So,
should have
like, what do
probably
you
put a
think where do
spoiler
you think
alert.
they're gonna take the story next? Rather than recounting everything that you know about, like, every episode you've watched, which I'm sure you remember all of those, but where do you think they would take the series?
I think they're probably
Where would you
think
like them to take the series? Not where do you think where would you like to see it go?
so. I would like for them to do a time skip to when Dipper is older, like, he's now is 16, I'd say, and he's now, and Stan, um, and now that they're 16, or no, I'm gonna change it to 18. Now that they're 18, they've moved to Gravity Falls, back to their childhood place of where it all went down. But then this weird small rift appeared in the cabin to the nightmare realm. And they had no idea why it was there, but they called Stanley and Stanford to see what the heck's up. But they couldn't find them, so they kind of have to go on this entire mission, battling monsters and all that stuff, and then tell them another rift has opened to the base. So then they go back, but already Gravity Falls has kind of already turned weird already, but they're like, "Okay, so we can do what we did last time, right, guys?" And they're all like, "Yeah, we can." And so they all like try and beat him, but Stan Ford was captured again by Bill, and sadly Bill has found out a new trick to
So
get
you're just gonna
him
you're writing the
to
whole
turn.
story for them. What the next one's gonna be?
Yeah, and like
What are you
like,
what would you call it? Would you call it Gravity Rises?
I just put in Gravity
Gravity
Falls season 3.
you what?
Gravity Falls season 3.
Season 3? But it's been a long time, so wouldn't you wanna change the name, maybe take it in a new direction, but still have, like,
We're not
something.
rebooting it.
You don't think it's a reboot?
No,
It'd
we're
have to be a
continuing
reboot
the
at this point.
stories because the same characters are there. They're just doing what Stranger Things is doing, time skipping a
Oh,
few years
all
because
right. With
they
that,
turned 13 in the show.
I think that's probably about all we've got time for today. So thanks for
Yippee.
everyone listening in. Those of you who love Gravity Falls, I'm sure this was a great episode. Beckham, can you read us out?
Oh, yippee, yes.
Today's show was produced by Beckham and Brett. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify. Please subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. Reach out with any questions, comments, or potential topics. We will respond. Have a great week.